There we go. Okay. Can you all hear me? Great. Was I muted for that whole time, Drin?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody, hello and welcome. I am so excited to welcome you here to the kingdom. What a beautiful moment that we have to come together. And I think it's so important now than ever that we remember that we are connected to that space within us and around us that is endless and infinite. And so I want to welcome you today to our session. And if it's your first time coming today, I would love for you to just type in the chat box and say it's my first time and where you're coming in from. I see several first timers already saying that. Pedro from Colorado and from Vancouver and everybody. And as you say that it's your first time, we'll have everybody else in the community welcome them in, chat with each other in the chat box. And everybody welcome Drin. Drin, who is here playing keys with us again, back again, just blessing us with this incredible music. And so I'm so excited to be with you all today here at the Kingdom. And I think what's so important is, I know for me this morning even, I was having, after my meditation this morning, just one of those moments where your head gets into that space of like, what am I doing? Am I on track? Am I on purpose? And we get into those head spinny spaces. And this session where we're at together is so important so that we can remember that no matter what's going on in our lives, and even if not that much is happening in our lives, but it's all happening in our minds, that we can remember that we're all connected into that space within us and outside of us that is endless and infinite. So welcome. Welcome Troy, welcome Carrie, welcome Irene, welcome Mom, Barbara, welcome Emily, Harper, Lindsay, Tony, Tim, Nathaniel, Anke, Leslie, Jessica, Karen, Heather. I see all of you, so many of you from all over the world. And hello, Lalanya, first time from Sacramento. So many first timers, and I want to welcome you here. I just want to check in with you all. Is the levels okay for you right now? Can you hear my voice okay compared to the music today with Drin? I always like to check in with you all on that before we go deep to make sure you can all hear okay. Hi, Chris from Honolulu. Hello from Puerto Vallarta, Maui. We have a lot of Hawaiian Islands people over. Great. Sound is good. Well, then let's continue. Drin, thank you. I'm going to turn off your video, and Drin is still going to play for us in the background, and she'll be back on video with us soon. So for those of you who are brand new here, I always like to start by talking about our belief statements. And these belief statements are so important because they really are what define our community and help define the reason why we come together. And one of the reasons why the Kingdom started in the first place, and this is our 8th week, so we've been at this for 2 months now, is because we wanted to bring a place and a space together where we could come to praise and to worship and to celebrate beyond our divides, beyond our religions, something that doesn't conflict with any of our beliefs, but that brings us together despite them. And what I want you to know here at the Kingdom is that all beliefs are welcome here. All biologies are welcome here, and we believe in the power of music to open our hearts and minds. So you'll always hear live music, and today I'm singing to you guys a little bit. I haven't sang to you all in a few weeks. And we believe that wisdom can come from many places, not just religious text, but also religious texts, and weaving all the greatest wisdom teachings together to help us move into the next point, which is that expanded definition of self. That expanded definition to know that we are all connected to one another. We're connected to the environment. We're connected to all of nature and all that is. And the second to last point is one of my most important and favorite. And it's that we don't just honor or tolerate each other's differences, but we know that we are stronger because of them. We don't honor or tolerate each other's differences, but we know that we are stronger because of them. And that's what the world needs right now. All of us to listen across divides, to come together across all the different things. That's why I have many of you are involved in the Ending Racism Challenge that's going on my Instagram right now. If you're not, check it out. There's still 5 days left. And right now, I think what's missing in our world is this ability to know, yes, we're different. Yes, we have different ideas and different thoughts and different beliefs. But yes, we can come together. Not despite them, but because of them is what makes us stronger. Because of the fact that we can come together with all those differences is what makes us stronger. And ultimately, last but not least, as you guys know, I always say, we rise together. And yes, Drin, Lisa and everybody here is thanking you for the music, and it adds so much to our experience. We're so grateful to have you back this week. And our format is usually always the same here, so you know what to expect. We start with either a poem or a song, and many of you have been sending in poems. I'm going to be weaving in more of those in the coming weeks. We do a prayer in which you also get time to do your own personal prayer. And then we have music and song woven out throughout, followed by a teaching, a practice so that you can see how to actually embody these teachings into your life. A golden nugget, which is your big takeaway that you're going to commit to sharing with others in your life and with yourself, and your power action to help you not just be inspired and feel good in this moment, which is important, but to also take action into your lives. Take action in your life. And so this is the kingdom. This is the kingdom. And so now let's begin with our prayer. And Drin, you can lower the music down now for our prayer. When I pray, I like to place my hands right over my chest, one over the other, anchoring into the center of love. You can also place them here or on your knees. And if you feel willing, I invite you to close your eyes. God, universe, spirit, all that is, all that ever has been, all that ever will be, we thank you. We thank you for bringing us together in this time and in this space. We thank you for always bringing us home to ourselves. No matter how many times we may get lost in the forest of our minds, being chased by the demons of our past, you always bring us back home, and we thank you. Thank you for the messages that bring us back home. Thank you for the friends that bring us back home. Thank you for the mentors, seen and unseen, that bring us back home, the books and the podcasts and the little aha moments that we have throughout our day that bring us back home, that remind us who we are and help us remember where we came from and whose we are. We thank you for bringing us together in this time and space. May everyone in this space be blessed and experience great joy and abundance in their life through this session and beyond. For the next 60 seconds, I'm going to be quiet and allow you to welcome in your personal prayer. And this is a moment for you to say your religious prayers or maybe just set a personal intention for this session today, putting your phones on silent and really anchoring in and allowing yourself to have this moment for you. 60 seconds of your personal prayer begins now. God, Spirit, Universe, all that has been, all that ever will be. May all the words that are spoken here today by me, through the chat box, all the music that's shared, and everything that is heard and seen by all of us be for the benefit of all. May we receive exactly the message that we were meant to receive today. And may we remember exactly what we're meant to remember to pass on to those we love. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings find peace. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Ashe, Aho, Salam, Amen, Satnam, Om. Thank you. Let's begin. I'm so excited to be here with you all. It brings me so much joy. It brings me so much joy to be here with you all. And I see my mom over here promoting. My mom is the best promoter. That's my mom, Barbara, everybody. So I will say this because I never announce it because I don't like to promote stuff on here, but so many of you have been writing and asking. And so I will make sure you all know. So we have t-shirts, right? We have the Kingdom t-shirts, the We Rise Together t-shirts. We have tank tops, we have hoodies, we have all those things. If you feel like joining the wearable part of this community, we don't do any donations here for the Kingdom. This is a total labor of love for me and my team, for us, for me, for all of us in this community. And when you support through things like getting the t-shirts or the tank tops or the many different things that we have, it helps support the community and the musicians and everybody that's coming in. And so if you want to get a shirt or anything like that, you can just go to my website. I'm putting it in here, justinmichaelwilliams.com. And you can find lots of different things there. We Rise Together, crowns. We made some really beautiful things inspired by you all and also inspired by my grandmother and several other things that I think you'll all love. So thank you, Mom, for for pushing me to say that. So, and thank you, Emily, for having yours too. So let's officially begin here. Today's session is indeed a big session. And we are talking today about the power of what's called resistance and how to break through it. The power of resistance and how to break through it. And I know some of you haven't heard this word in this way before, but the reason why I'm sharing this today, and this is a huge, huge lesson, and one of the first lessons that really set me on the path that you are all seeing me in today. So this book, it's called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, is a book that I'm going to be pulling from today. And I think one of the things that I'll be doing as we move forward, and I have my original version here, you can see it's all tattered up, it has notes in it. One of the things that I'll be doing as we're moving through our time together is weaving in some of the teachings that have really changed my life. And this is one of the originals. This is one of the first books that I read. The very first one was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, but this was the second one. And this one changed my life for the better, for everything. And I can tell you with certainty that I would not be here doing what I'm doing today if it were not for this book. And I'm going to pull in some really important teachings from The War of Art today that I think are essential and part of what changed my life so dramatically. Now, resistance. I said that our session today was on the power of resistance. I'm going to just make a quick yell out to my mom right now. Mom, would you mind turning the air conditioner off? It's a little loud in here, and I feel like it's buzzing in the thing. So would you mind just turning it off for me? Thank you. I'm at my mom's house right now, y'all, and she's in the other room listening. So I'm just going to ask her to turn off the AC. So what is happening with resistance is this. Resistance is that thing, that force, that thing that tries to bring us friction and hold us back. And hold us back whenever we're going toward our dreams and our goals. Resistance is something that we have to break through, but that we can actually never get rid of. We can never get rid of it. We just learn how to relate to it. And so I'm actually going to read to you. I don't typically do this, but the words are so important. It was too long to put on a quote thing. On when resistance shows up in your life, and to give you a better understanding of what it is so that you can start to learn how to break through it. So this is from The War of Art on page 5. It says, the following is a list in no particular order of those activities that most commonly elicit resistance in us. So I want you all to listen very carefully here, okay? This is what will elicit resistance in you. Number 1, the pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, film, dance, or any creative art, however marginal or unconventional. Number 2, the launching of any entrepreneurial venture or enterprise, for profit or otherwise, will cause resistance to come up. Any diet or health regimen, any program of spiritual advancement, any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals. It literally says that in the book. Any course or program designed to overcome an unwholesome habit or addiction. Education of any kind. Any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better. The undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. And finally, any act that entails commitment of the heart, the decision to get married, the decision to have a child, or to weather a rocky patch in a relationship. Taking any principled stand in the face of adversity will bring about resistance. And so I was thinking about this topic of resistance and how do we really define it when we know it comes up and shows up in all these different parts of our lives? How do we really define it for ourselves? And so I came up with this definition that really has served me in my life. Resistance usually comes up for anything that requires you to give up short-term comfort for long-term growth. Do you get that? Resistance usually comes up for anything that requires you to give up short-term comfort for long-term growth. And you know, the thing is we don't have resistance. We don't have any resistance to eating the chocolate cake. We don't have any resistance to laying our ass on our bed all day. We don't have any resistance to watching all that TV. But we have resistance to doing the thing that is going to actually help us grow and evolve. And so this is a big topic to cover today. And the reason why I want to cover this topic, and then I think it's so important, and I even go into it in depth in the self-sabotage section of Stay Woke, is because of this. To go about the business of living your purpose, of living your dream, of stepping in to the person that you know yourself to be inside when you close your eyes, is not going to take you getting rid of resistance. It's going to take you relating to it differently. Do you hear me? Most people think that in order to step into their purpose and step into their dream, they have to first get rid of resistance. Well, I'm going to do it once I'm motivated, once I'm inspired. I don't know why I just can't do it. Why I can't just get involved. I have all this other stuff to do. It's keeping me, all these things that we say to ourselves. Those are going to stay. But the question becomes, how do you relate to these things. Now, there's one other thing from the War of Art. It's very short that I want to share with you that I thought was a really important way of naming it, about resistance being invisible, okay? And so I circled and dashed and did everything around this thing when I first read it. So it says, resistance is invisible. This is on page 7. Resistance cannot be seen, touched, heard, or smelled, but it can be felt. We experience it as an energy field radiating from a work in potential. Do you hear those words? Not a work in progress, a work in potential. Because the potentiality doesn't exist yet, but you know it exists in a possibility space within you. And so this resistance shows up to keep it as potential, but not as reality. And it continues to say, resistance is a repelling force. It's negative. It aims to shove us away, distract us, and prevent us from doing our work. You feel that? And what I know to be true, is this. You all deserve to step into the fullness that is your life. If that calling that's been on your mind for years and years and days, and when you finally slow down, it comes up again and you hear the reminders and you have the aha moments, it's not a moment to feel shame or mad at yourself that you've waited too long. You've never waited too long. Every single breath, every single day, every single moment is an opportunity to begin again. And you deserve that. You deserve it. And my aim today is to help wake that up inside of each of us so that we can get on about the business of living our purposes and stepping into the lives that we were born to live. So let us dive in deeply to this topic now. There are lots of ways that resistance shows up, and I'm going to cover 3 different ways today. And I cover self-sabotage in my book in like 4 different ways, and this is a whole book about resistance, but I'm covering the 3 topics that I think are the most pervasive and relevant to us right now. And number 1 is toxic habits. Number 2 is something called toxic rationalization. And number 3 is the facade of productivity. And you'll see what I mean by that. That's a really simple but really big one. So let's begin with toxic habits. Now, I talk about toxic habits a little differently than most people expect. I don't talk about toxic habits as, you don't need me or a book or anybody to tell you if you're engaging in like crazy toxic behavior. You know those things. It's more important to talk about the things that we don't often know or see as toxic within ourselves, because there's sometimes things that everyone else is doing. Things that we think are okay, that we think are normal, but that are holding us back from our dreams and our goals. And so this is how I define a toxic habit. A toxic habit is anything that you're doing regularly that lowers your vibration or keeps you from reaching your goals. I want you to read that again. Say it out loud even. A toxic habit is anything you're doing regularly. Regularly is an important word here. That's why it's a habit that lowers your vibration or keeps you from reaching your goals. And now here's the thing, okay? Everything we do, every action we take is either taking us closer to our vision or it's taking us further away. There's no in between. There's no in between. Everything we do, from when you choose to wake up in the morning or if you choose to sleep in, from when you choose to go to bed at night or if you choose to stay up scrolling and going late, to who you choose to call, to what you choose to wear, every single choice is taking us either closer to our vision or further away. And I'll give you and this happens in big ways and small ways. So I'll give you a very clear example. Okay. I have this tank top sitting next to me right now that I was wearing 30 seconds before we went live. Okay. This is one of the Kingdom tank tops. And one of the commitments that I made to myself about a year ago, 2 years ago actually, when I started my journey of celibacy, which has shifted and evolved, but I was celibate for a couple of years working on my book. And one of the things that I had made a commitment to myself in my vision as I saw the Justin that I guide you all into, that we're going to go into in our little meditation practice later. I saw Justin 5 years from now on a stage doing these things. And I anchored into, how does that Justin dress? What does that Justin do? How does he show up? What energy is he using to help bring the community together? And in the most simple ways, how I said every little action is either taking you closer or further away. Well, here's the thing. One of the things that I committed to when I started the celibacy journey was that I was no longer going to use my body, my physical body, and how much I work out and my arms or this, consciously and purposefully to try to be sexy to get people to come into the community. And you've seen people do this all the time, right? You see people post all naked on Instagram and then post a motivational quote. I used to do that too. I said, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not using that currency anymore to trade. And so it was funny because I was sitting in this tank top because it's 105 degrees in the Bay Area right now. And I was like, went on the camera and I was like, ooh, my arms look good. And I felt that voice in my head go, ooh, you should keep your tank top on because everyone's going to think you're really cute, on the kingdom today with your tank top and your arms out, and you never wear a tank top. And that's the old resistance coming up. Because I said, no. Just in the vision, it's not that I can't wear a tank top, but I'm not wearing the tank top to make sure y'all think my arms are cute. Do you get what I'm saying? And so that was a choice, a little choice that I had with spirit, with the universe to say, what are you going to do, Justin? You're going to step into the vision, or are you going to step away from it? Right? Are you going to step in? Are you going to step away? I know, and my mom's laughing that I asked to turn the air conditioner off. We're going to be okay. And so these little moments, what you choose to eat, what you choose to do, these are how we step into our vision fully in every aspect of who we are. Do you understand? And so what we have to remember, super importantly, as we're getting into this, is that most things are not inherently toxic. All right, I'm going to tell you one more story because I'm sure you're thinking of toxic habits yourself, but I want to really point this out for you because the habits that I want you to identify today are the things that you might not be thinking of. I'm going to tell you one more story. And hey, Rachel, I see Rachel here. So here's the deal, okay? About 4 years ago, I gave up drinking. I was with Brenda, who was on a few months ago. And Brenda, I had a reading with her, and she said to me, Justin, you need to give up drinking. And I said, why? I didn't have a drinking problem. I didn't have an addiction problem. I was working on my album. And Brenda said to me, Justin, I need you clear. Spirit needs you clear. You're giving birth to an entirely new self, an entirely new life. And if you're not clear and you're cloudy and the drinking makes you cloudy, you're not going to know how to make those pivotal decisions. And so we need you clear. No more alcohol. And I was like, but even a glass of wine every once in a while, everyone drinks wine. It's okay. It's, not that big of a deal. Making all this rationalization, which we'll get into in a moment. And here's the thing, while I'm naming this, drinking's not toxic. I mean, it is literally, but it's not a toxic habit by default. But what can be toxic is our relationship to those things. And so for me, in the context of that moment in my life, drinking was toxic. Is it toxic for everybody? No. Is it toxic always? No. It can be for even a moment in your life, and then things can shift and evolve. And so here's what I'm putting up on the slides right now. This is one thing to really remember, is most things are not inherently toxic. Most things are neutral. What can be toxic, however, is our relationship with those things. And this is how something can be toxic for you, but not toxic for your friend. Toxic for you at one point, but not toxic later. So this is crucial for you to understand. So now I'm going to give you a few examples of things that can be toxic, and there's many things. Social media, watching TV, always saying yes when you really mean to say no. Porn, hookup apps, drinking alcohol, smoking weed, gossiping, staying up too late, waking up too late, drinking caffeine. All of these are potential toxic habits that show up in the form of resistance. Now, how does this relate to the concept of resistance? This is an important concept because you have to remember this, okay? Resistance, Heather said, putting everyone else first. That's amazing, okay? Resistance, here's you going towards your goal, or even wanting or having the idea of going towards your goal. Resistance shows up and just does like this, okay? Just pushing, pushing, pushing. But it doesn't always show up obviously. It shows up as excuses and rationalizations and having to take care of people, and I'm too tired and I'm this and blah, blah, blah. All the reasons it shows up. And it keeps us stuck right here. But what you have to know, and I will say this as somebody who has gratefully, by the gift of God and the universe, accomplished some incredible things in my life. And I'm sure all of you can relate to this as well, okay? The resistance doesn't go away. You just learn to build up your personal power so that you can push forward as the resistance pushes on you. It never goes away. And that's a hard thing to face sometimes. And you can ask anyone, and you can even think of the things in your own life where you succeeded. It never goes away. And so that's a major thing to know. It's a little bit like, it feels defeating in one way, but it also is empowering in another way because it helps us know that we can't get rid of it. We have to relate to it. Are you all following me right now? Are you with me? I'm going to take a little sip of my tea out of my mom's Tinkerbell cup. Look. We love a little tink. A little something here. So, yes, Emily said it's kind of like you can't stop your thoughts in meditation. So here's the reason why I focus so much on teaching you guys practices like meditation and mindfulness and intuition and at power actions and all these things, is because that's how you build your personal power. That's how you build the force. To know when the resistance is here, to move in spite of it, to build your confidence, to break through fear. That's how you keep it going. Do you think it was easy for me as at the time, a 27-year-old, I'm 32 now, a 27-year-old gay black dude in music living in Hollywood to stop drinking? No. Do you think it was easy for me to not have sex for 2 years so that I can devote to writing this book for y'all? No. I just hit my 2-year anniversary last Saturday, by the way. Do you think it was easy to do these things? No. But did I know from spirit, from my intuition, from tarot cards, from guides, from everybody, that if I was going to step into the life that God put me here to live, then I needed to do those things. And as I did them, and as I showed up, my power built in ways that you cannot describe. And I'm sure you're thinking of ways that you've shown up for yourself right now. So one thing I'd like us to do very quickly is to just place your hands over your heart. Close your eyes. This is not our full practice. This is just a mini thing that we'll do. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Again, a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I want you right now to think of one way that you have successfully shown up for yourself in the past. It could be big or small. It could be you went for that walk. It could be you started that project, even if you didn't finish it. It could be the moments you've stepped beyond your fear, stepped beyond resistance. Just think of one particular moment where you've stepped beyond your resistance. And then remember and see if you can notice, how did that feel? How did that feel after it was done? And how did it feel before it was done? How much thought and preparation and all the went into it? Notice the difference between before it was done and after it was done. And that's because when we're on the other side of resistance, when we do the thing, the resistance almost just disappears. You break through it like an arrow straight into the heart of the matter, and it just dissolves. I see like glitter dust just exploding. And then you're through. And then a new form of resistance shows up. You know, we've seen this in a lot of ways. It's the story of, you know, the person who gets drafted into the NBA and then the week before hurts their ankle. It's the story of the Adele in the height of her career and then injuring her vocal cords. Same thing with Sam Smith, all the Grammy nominations, and then vocal cords get injured. You can expect it. You can expect it. Last week, 2 weeks ago, when I put out the Ending Racism article, I haven't been sick all year. I got a huge dramatic sinus infection 2 weeks ago, the week I was putting out the hugest article of my career thus far. You can expect it. And so the question becomes, how can you anchor into your personal power and keep going? Okay? Allison said, I realized in meditation a few days ago that when I feel resistance, it's a sign that I need to do the thing. And resisting takes more energy than just doing it half the time. Yes. How much time do we spend thinking about it? What if, and what if that? And maybe I should do it this way. Maybe I should do it that way. Maybe this will happen and maybe that will happen. More time and energy, really, thinking about it than just doing it. Allison, you got it. And so that is the moment. That is the moment. When you feel the resistance, that's often a cue for you to know that you're actually headed in the right direction. And the reason why I've waited so long to teach this to you all is because, remember, a few weeks ago, and if you're new, you might want to go back to the recordings of these ones because they're very powerful. Why we talked about learning if it's your intuition or fear, learning to trust yourself. It is a yes or is it a no? Is because you'll know, is this resistance or is this really my intuition telling me to stop? And this is how it all weaves together. So let us continue with, this is a big one, all right? This is a huge one that I, to be honest with you, have never really taught before because it didn't make it into the book, but it's one of the things that I've had to learn over and over and over, and I think we all have had to learn so many times. And this is called toxic rationalization. Rationalization. This one hit me like a ton of bricks when I read The War of Art the first time. So this is on page 55, okay, of The War of Art. So it's about a page long. I'm going to read it to you because his words are so perfect. This is from Stephen Pressfield, okay? Resistance and rationalization. Resistance, let me actually put this way for you all. There, it's a little better. Resistance is fear, but resistance is too cunning to show itself in its naked form. Why? Because if resistance let us see clearly that our own fear is what's preventing us from doing our work, then we may feel shame at this. And if we feel shame at this, it may drive us to act in the face of fear. So understand that. The resistance comes disguised. It doesn't come like, hey girl, you're scared. You're scared. So you're creating all this drama in your life so that you can accomplish your goals. So what resistance does is it comes up facade as like, oh, it's these people I have to take care of. It's this that I have to do. It's this reason. It's that reason. And it doesn't just come full on saying, hey, I'm fear, because if it did, then you would probably move beyond it. So continuing. Resistance doesn't want us to move forward. So it brings in rationalization. Rationalization is resistance's spin doctor. It's resistance's way of hiding its big stick behind its back instead of showing us our fear, which might make us do our work. Resistance presents us with a series of plausible, rational justifications for why we shouldn't do our work. Are you all following me here? So resistance gives us all these rational reasons. Well, no, I shouldn't do it because of this, or I shouldn't do it because of that. I should wait till next week, or I should blah, blah. We've all done it, right? So I'm not, and there's no shame and no blame in this. We've all done it, but we can begin again today. And now here's what else Stephen goes on to say. What's particularly insidious about the rationalizations that resistance presents to us is that a lot of them are true. This is big. Listen to me very carefully here. If you take anything today, it's probably this. I'm going to say that last part again. What's particularly insidious about the rationalizations is that the resistance presents to us is that a lot of them are actually true. They are legitimate. Our wife may really be in her 8th month of pregnancy. She may in truth need us at home. Our department may really be instituting a changeover that will eat up hours of our time. Indeed, it may make sense to pull off finishing your dissertation or working on that project until at least after the baby is born, until after I'm done with this, until after I'm done taking care of them, until after this person passes away, until after all of that stuff. I may really need to wait. What resistance leaves out, of course, however, is that all this means diddly squat. Tolstoy had 13 kids and wrote War and Peace. Lance Armstrong had cancer and won the Tour de France 3 years and counting. You have accomplished incredible things in the face of great odds. Our ancestors overcame slavery in the face of white supremacy and an entire nation that was against them. All the things may be true, but that doesn't mean shit. Because they're always going to be true. And then when that thing is not true anymore, then another thing is going to be true. And another thing is going to be true. Until we grab hold of our lives, pull that arrow, let it go, and go straight into the heart of the matter and blow the resistance up into glitter, of course, and step forward into the calling that is our life. And I know you're all feeling this, and I want to really name here that this is not about shaming yourself. What happens for so many of us, when I'm doing this teaching, I have to be very careful about it, is because so many of us, we recognize, oh my God, I've been in resistance for 10 years. I've been in resistance for 5 months. I've been in resistance. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Like that itself, in the book, it actually talks about that. That shaming is just more resistance. That's all it is. It's just more resistance keeping you going. Because now you're working on all the reasons why you didn't go instead of just fucking going. Excuse my language today, you guys. But you get it, right? This teaching, this book, this teaching, Justin Michael Williams would not be here doing any of this ever. I would be working in a cubicle at a marketing agency right now. I'd probably be in the corner office by now, but I would still be in a marketing agency had I not read this book and done what it says. Okay? And so this is so important that you just do it. Like Nike says. Let's get on to the third point so we can get into our teaching today. Now, here's a big one. This one's going to shock some of y'all. This is called the Facade of Productivity. The Facade of Productivity. And this is one that I've created based upon my reading of this. And it's one that, again, another teaching that didn't make it into Stay Woke, because if Stay Woke would have been 1,000 pages had I put all the teachings in there. And this is a really big one. The facade of productivity is this. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to apologize right now because it's going to break some of y'all. Okay? In a beautiful way. It's going to break you open. So here's the deal. Let's say that thing that you know that you want to do, the big thing that you really know that you want to accomplish is to write an album and record an album. Okay? What ends up happening with the facade of productivity is we create these to-do lists of all these things that we have to do first, right? And then what happens is we think that we're being successful and we think we're moving towards our goal, but it's all a facade. We're still stuck in the same spot doing all this other shit that isn't actually taking us towards the goal. So for example, I remember when I was first getting into music and I started doing all these things, like my mission was to sing, right? To sing and record an album. So I'm like, okay, I need to take piano lessons. I need to take guitar lessons. I need to go to the gym and work out. I need to do this. I need to start writing. I need to do this. I need to do that. And then you start feeling productive. So you start fooling yourself into thinking that you're successful when really you're still stuck right here in the same spot. And you've been so busy. You guys get it? You've been so busy. You've been making business cards. You've been making logos. You've been making website designs. You've been scripting and writing and talking about it, but you still ain't done the thing. We still ain't done that. You've done everything but yes, Jessica said it, doing everything but the damn thing. And we feel productive. And so we fool ourselves into thinking that we're successful. I was talking to one of my good friends about this one day, which is when I came up with the facade of perfection. And she had this idea to do a dream workshop. Okay, like she's somebody she's incredible. If anybody wants to get in touch with her, I'll put you in touch. She does dream interpretations. And she had this idea of launching a course. And she told me, she was like, she reaches out all proud, thinking Justin, I've been doing so good. I asked her how her course was going. And she said, I've been doing so good. I've been meditating every morning. I've been writing down all of my dreams. I've been journaling about all of my dreams. I've been spending at least 3 hours a day writing out the da-da-da about the dreams. I've expanded my meditation practice. And here's the thing. None of those things are bad. Yes, it's good and productive to meditate. Yes, it's good and productive to work out. Yes, it's good and productive that she was writing down her own dreams. But was that taking her towards her course? No. No. And so we fool ourselves, and the resistance keeps us stuck in the same spot. So the thing is, we have to do the thing. Everyone's asking where the replays are. I have all the replays on YouTube, and the replays for this episode, every week, the current episode replay is always on this same page for a week. For about a week until Friday, and then it switches to the new week. But the old weeks are all on YouTube. And the secret is I'm going to be putting them on a podcast soon. Shh. Okay? So I'm going to have the Kingdom podcast coming shortly. So the I can't believe I just told y'all. Yeah, that was supposed to be a secret. So don't tell nobody. So you all get the point, okay? So the resistance. Can we just have a quick recap here? I want y'all to type them in. First way resistance shows up is what? Toxic habits. Second way resistance shows up is toxic rationalization. And third way resistance shows up is the facade of productivity. So this is what we have to break through. And I can't recommend y'all get this book more. It's like little pages, like literally, it's like you read one page and then one page. It's one you can keep next to your bedside table and just read. It is incredible. It transformed my life. I even have it in Stay Woke in the back as one of the 6 books that transformed my life the most. So please get this book. I'll email you guys a link. I'll email you all a link to it at the end of this. So, and I also owe you Carrie's poems from a few weeks ago. So I'll email the link to this with Carrie's poems right after we get off the session today. All right? Yo, got it. So let's continue. I love this quote from Oprah. And someone said, don't resist, or what resists persists, or something earlier. This is a similar quote to that. Oprah says this: Don't resist. Resistance only causes more struggle. And you can't win if you're fighting the truth. Instead, persist in finding it and letting it break you open. Letting it break you open. Okay? Let's practice. I'll tell you guys one more thing before we practice. I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to. So I'll just tell you vulnerably, the place that resistance shows up for me in my life the most, more than anything, two places. One is exercise and fitness. Even though I do it, it shows up a lot. And the second way for me is with music. Resistance, y'all, for me to do 15 minutes of vocal warm-ups, I probably think about it for 2 hours first and avoid it and do everything else. But I still, most days, I do it. Most days I show up and do it, and I might be annoyed and irritated and scrolling through Instagram while it's happening. But I do it because I know that these vocal lessons and vocal warm-ups are what's going to take me to being confident enough in my voice to be able to sing without feeling shame or embarrassment. But this is why the resistance shows up. Because guess what? That fear that we have inside of being great is sometimes bigger than the fear of failure. I know you've heard this before. And so for me, the fear comes up internally, subconsciously and this is why the childhood trauma and this and that. Childhood trauma of Justin teased, Justin bullied, Justin's never good enough. So what happens when I actually work hard enough and I am good enough? That's a huge breakthrough. And it's a breakthrough that your subconscious sometimes isn't ready for. And so think of the things in your own life that you're ready to break through. And notice where the resistance shows up. And that is how you transform your life. All right? Let's practice. So today's practice, if you all remember last week when I did the power of meditation, I guided you into the Dream Bigger practice. And the Dream Bigger meditation, I invited you to imagine a future version of yourself. And then we called upon an energy within ourselves to help us cultivate that energy. And what we're going to do today is take that meditation to the next level. So I'm going to turn my microphone off. And Drin, I know that you are going to be on your way out soonish. Know that you're totally fine. You'll find the perfect place to exit. I think we'll be right on time before I sing. And so I'm going to turn my camera off because you don't need to see me for this practice. And I want you all to get as comfortable as you possibly can. Get as comfortable as you possibly can. And we're going to dive into a little meditation practice together here. And I'd like you to place both of your hands over your heart, one on top of the other. And on the count of 3, exhale everything out of your system through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Exhale everything out of the system through your nose. And now slowly to my count of 3, inhale for 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3. Again, inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, 3. Exhale 1, 2, 3. One more time. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Hold it a little longer this time. See if you can sip in a little bit more air this time. And on the count of 3, I want you to open the mouth, let it go. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, let it all go. now just breathe normally. And like we did last week, I'm going to invite you into a visualization here. But I want you to remember, like I said last week, that when you visualize, you may not see images. Some people visualize by seeing images. Some people, though, visualize by hearing things, or feeling things in their body, or smelling things, or tasting things, or you might get little glimpses of visions that are incomplete of images. Just trust whatever arises is exactly what you're meant to see. So take one more breath in and a breath out, and let's begin. I want you now to imagine a future version of yourself who has stepped beyond your resistance and is living the life of your dreams. You have the body you've always wanted. You're in the house you've always wanted. You have the emotional state you've always wanted. You're with the friends you've always wanted, the relationship you've always wanted. Everything is exactly how you've always wanted and dreamed of. And if this feels impossible, good, because we're stepping beyond the resistance into the space of potentiality and possibility. So even if you have multiple images shuffling in your mind at once, or it's not clear, I want you to see if you can land in one place as we begin to dimensionalize this a little bit more. Notice in this vision with your eyes closed. Are you indoor or are you outdoor in the vision? What color are you wearing in the vision? Is there anybody there with you? What do you look like? Do you hear anything? Do you smell anything? Do you taste anything? Do you feel any sensation on your skin? And what's different about this vision as it compares to your normal life? What indicates to you, what's different about it that lets you know that you're living in that space of potentiality, in that space of your dreams? Take just a moment now and scan around yourself in the vision. And just take in as many sights and colors and textures and sounds and people and whatever's in your environment. Take in a little bit more if you can, even if it's incomplete. Just noticing little glimpses of colors and things that you can to dimensionalize this a little bit more. What do you notice? And now I'm going to ask you a question. And I'm going to give you about 30 to 45 seconds to see what answers bubble up. And sometimes it'll happen in the first answer, and sometimes the answers will evolve. So just listen to your inner self with that inner listening with compassion. Here's your question. As you look at this future version of you, ask it, future me, What is keeping me out of alignment with becoming thee? Ask with your heart. Future me, what is keeping me out of alignment with becoming thee? Future me, what is keeping me out of alignment with becoming thee? And then notice what arises. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. When you're ready, keeping yourself in this silent, still space, go ahead and open your eyes and write down in the chat box, if you'd like, what came up for you so you can name it and be seen and felt and heard here in the community. And most importantly, write it down for yourself. Because this is how you start to even notice what the resistance is, so that when it comes up, you catch it. It can't trick you. It can't come up like he said. Troy, alcohol. Sandra, turbulences. Lindsay, expectations. Sophia, commitment and consistency. I resist seeing my future self. Love, resisting it. Age, still hiding. Great, Melissa, I'm doing great, on the right track. Social anxiety, laziness and fear, numbing behaviors, drinking and watching TV. Myself, non-communication. I am the resistance. Be vulnerable and believe. You are not resistance, Jessica. Don't name that I am. You could say I have resistance, but you are love. Consistency, self-doubt. Great, Aveline, not a single thing right now. You heard your dad's voice saying, Janet, you aren't capable of that. Fear of being too small. Beautiful. This is amazing. Fear of truly letting go and becoming and just doing. Trusting, stuck. So there's so many things coming through. And so what I invite you all to do now, which is so important, is to remember that you are enough. And to remember that you really can break through this. So as we close, and I'm going to sing you all a little song at the end, and so if you have to sign off, you're okay. But I want to make sure before you leave that we take a moment to do this, because there was a lot covered today. I want to know what your golden nugget is. So what we do for our golden nugget every week is we place our hands over our hearts, we close our eyes, and the golden nugget is you taking a moment to remember what is one thing from this whole session. If you could just pick one thing to remember, what is the one thing that you want to make sure you remember? One thing. Just pick one. And it takes about 30 to 45 seconds to commit it into the long-term memory. So what is that main takeaway for you today? Think about it for another few seconds. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. write it into the chat box so we can see a cascade of golden nuggets falling through and coming through for all of us. And here is your power action for the week. This is your power action. I'm changing it, actually, after feeling into the energy of this group today. Here's what I'd like to actually invite you all into. The next time you're feeling a moment of resistance in your life, the first thing that I want you to do is either take out a notebook or even your phone and write it down. Write down, I am feeling resistance. That is it. That is your only power action. And you'll see what happens after that. Because the truth of the matter is, and I know this for sure, is that when you name it as resistance, like resistance likes coming around when it could be like, hey, like, you don't know, it hopes you don't know what it is. You know, it can like kind of sneak in. But as soon as you go, resistance girl, I see you, it's kind of like, oh man, and it like goes stomping out of the room and then lets you get about the business of doing what you're doing. So the next time you're feeling resistance, your power action all week, I want you to do this more than once, is to write down, I am feeling resistance. Write it in your phone. Write it down in your notes. Don't just think it. And that's going to help you start to notice and create a catalog for how the specific recipe of resistance shows up in your life, because it's different for all of us. So if you're with me on this power action this week, I'd like you to type in, I commit. Emily's already on it. This is what we do every week. When you're committed to the power action, you type in, I commit. And we say commit because you're going to forget sometimes, and that's okay. But a commitment is coming back every time. Great. Dion commits. Aaron commits. Emily commits. Ella commits. Troy commits. Aveline commits. Sarah, Carrie, Rachel. Love you, Rachel. Allie, Jack, Melissa. We're all committing. I commit. I'm with you. Anke. Am I saying that right? Anke? Is that how you say your name? Lisa. Nathaniel. Beautiful. We are committing across the globe. And remember your golden nuggets, which I'm going to read over right now. Resistance is fear of being great. Just do the thing. I'm bigger than resistance. You can't win if you're fighting the truth. Yeah, that's big. The facade of productivity, toxic rationalization. All these golden nuggets. Pass them on to the people that you love. Because it's so important that we all become a ripple in the pond of change, creating waves of change, reaching only the corners of the world that only we can reach. I love seeing all of your commitments. So in closing, before we do the song, I want to read you something. I feel so grateful. So I'm putting her name up here, Shelly Tegelski. She's a really good friend of mine. Many of you might have saw her on the Kelly Clarkson show last week. She has an organization called the Pandemic of Love. And she texts me something that I have screenshot in my phone here that was so important. And it keeps me on track anytime I get stuck, because one of the biggest pieces of resistance, if I had a fourth one and if I had time, this would have been the fourth one today, is over-analyzing. That's another big resistance thing. And I do this, over-analyzing. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? If you just did it, it would already be done and you get feedback. So Shelly texts me this and I have it screenshot in my phone. So I'm reading it to you. I want to pass this to you because this is one that really saves me all the time. Shelly says, Justin, remember what I said to you. There are two types of people in this world. The what ifs and the why nots. Don't be a what if. They are paralyzed in their analysis. Be a why not. Why not me? Why not try? Why not now? Why not see what happens? I'm here to cheer you on in the front row and hold you accountable. Do it all, but do it. That was from Shelley Tagelski. Do it all, but do it. And you are enough. We are enough. And so this is our teaching on the power of resistance. And I think you all know what's coming next because I keep saying it. I'm going to sing you all a little song after I take a little sip of water here, as we close out. And for everybody who's always asking how long the kingdom is, I try to make it an hour. It's not possible. Not with the prayer and all of that. It's never once been an hour. So me and the team have just decided, just plan for 75 minutes. I always finish within 75 minutes, so you'll be done. It's about an hour and 15. Just for those of you who feel curious about that. All right. This is the song that I wrote. Every time I don't think that I'm enough. Every time that I think that I can't. Every time that I think that my resistance is too strong. Every time I think that my trauma is going to define me. Every time I think that I'm lost or that I've messed up or that I've waited too long or what the hell am I doing? I come back to these words and sing to the child inside of me, the little boy inside of me, who just wants to know that I will not give up on him, that he is enough. And so this is a song for the child inside of each and every one of us, inside of you, who just wants to know that they're enough. This is I Am Enough. Can you all hear the guitar? Can somebody let me know if you guys can hear the guitar okay? So the lyrics to the chorus are, I am enough, I am golden baby, yeah. And you can whisper along with me. Here it goes. Little boy, don't cry. You've been in pain enough. Thank you. Little girl, don't hide. You've been ashamed enough. No. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise. No. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough. I am enough. Ooh, I am enough. I am enough. Ooh, I am enough. I am enough. Oh. Little girl, it's alright. Taking the blame. Enough. No. Little boy, don't hide. You've been ashamed. Enough. One day I'll look into your eyes, show you you don't need to hide behind disguise. No. Spread your wings, you're terrified. Don't be afraid, you're born to fly. I'm by your side. Here we go, say, I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough, hey. I am enough. I am enough. I imagine little Justin. I am golden, baby. I I am enough. I imagine him singing this like, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Oh. I am enough. I am enough. Listen up. Say, you are enough. You are golden, baby. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. I want you to imagine that you're singing You Are Enough to somebody else on the screen. So look at someone's name on the screen, or just imagine our community and sing You Are Enough. Come on. You are enough. You are golden, baby. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. Oh, you are golden, baby. You are enough. Last time, we're gonna go to We Are Enough. Wait, we are enough. We are golden, baby. We are enough. This is our moment. We are enough. This is our time. We are enough. We are golden, baby. We are enough. We are enough. No. Ooh. I am enough. I am enough. Ooh. I am enough. You are enough. We are enough. Take that as a prayer in your heart. The resistance even comes up for me right when I finish singing the song. Ooh, you messed up that. You messed up that. You messed up that. It's always there. You just have to act anyways. And like Shelley said, do it all, but just do it. And yes, for those of you all who want to continue hearing that song, it is recorded. It sounds so different than the acoustic. It's recorded on everything. You can search for it. I Am Enough by Justin Michael Williams on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. It's all there. And use that song as a mantra. This is why I use music, you guys, not to perform to, if you can't tell. I use music because it's the way that we anchor these teachings beyond our logical brains into our hearts so that we can make change. And our ancestors have been doing this for generations. Indigenous cultures around the globe have always known that music is what transforms suffering and pain into magic and helps us move forward and get on the business of stepping into the calling that is our lives. And so I love you, I thank you, I honor all of you, and I'll see you right here in this special place next week. Bye for now.